Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that taught me this truth, and as well as the bishops, giving all praises and the salutations as well to the Akim within 144,000, and it's your brother Laban, and including the 1/3 overall, the house of the elect. And I first want to get into this article over here, which is coming from the People's Voice.tv, which this guy brings out a lot of good stuff. And that's why I've been very frequent on this guy's website. And of course, many others. But anyway, this reads, World Economic Forum scientist says, strong global dictatorship must depopulate the world by 86%. A senior World Economic Forum scientist has called for an 80% reduction in the global population, so the globalist elites can pursue immortality and enjoy a higher standard of living. The call was made by Dennis Meadows, a far-left American scientist who argues that the population goal can be achieved slowly and peacefully. Meadows is one of the main authors of the Club of Rome's notorious The Population Manual, The Limit to Growth, and I'm going to be checking that out as well. And I might do a lesson on it too, Lord willing, which has been cited as one of Klaus Schwab's most influential texts. According to Meadows, the vast majority of the world's population must be depopulated so that the survivors can have freedom and a high standard of living. And who are those survivors? Of course, your elitists. And all of these politicians, all of these people that are considering themselves to be very well and more important than everybody else, which in order for them to really get the population reduced severely, this is why they're going to erupt a war. Just like this guy that I used to watch, man, the other apostles brought him up, and I started watching him for quite a bit of time. I haven't watched this guy in a long time, but his name is Michael Rivero, and his slogan is all wars are bankers' wars, something to that equivalent, right? So you already know that the central bankers, as well as they were involved in the first and the second one, they're going to be involved in starting the third one. And when you read about how many people that died in the First World War, we're talking about 30 to 40 million people. And that was just by atomic energy. And as well as the Second World War, it was estimated that about 35 to 60 million people worldwide died. See, they have the numbers over there. All right. So just imagine with the technology that they have of these weapons of mass destruction using nuclear power, how much deaths would that bring on the earth? We're talking about billions and billions of people. All right. And you know what? The Lord is going to be with it, because the Lord is going to use the weapons of mass destruction, which is also known as the wastes to destroy. And Esau, in order for this to happen, Esau would have to be in a power seat right now. Now you have many naysayers that will say differently, that no, the Edomites are done away with, etc., etc. But according to the birthright, which is a prophecy that will be in activation real soon, in these times ahead, Esau would be in the power seat and demonstrating the power of the sword, according to as it is written in the book of Genesis 27 and verse 40, that Esau will be blessed with the sword, and by the sword he shall live. So what do you think Esau's going to do in his time of rulership, as he's always been doing? I mean, even if you go into the history of the ancient Roman Empire, and as well as the Greeks, ever since Esau came into the power seat, as the Greeks or the Romans, there were consistent wars going on. And more so in ancient Rome, you had a lot of wars going on in ancient Rome, which is equivalent to America and just overall the Edomitic rulership today, where you have constant wars. You know what I mean? Like, you got wars going all the way back to the time of the 19th century during the revolutionary times. You had various revolutionary wars and stuff like that, and they were fighting amongst Gad and Reuben, you name it. So this devil, when this devil goes out, he's going out in a big way. We're going to start seeing a great deal of destruction that the eyes have never seen before this devil goes out. All right. So billions of people are going to be basically having to die due to this third world's wars, as the Bible puts it, the third woe, which is coming quickly, which came after the Cold War, which ended in the late 1980s and the early 90s, if I'm correct. And ever since that point, we've been in the third world's war, the building up stages of it. And now we're about to reach to a point where these nations are going to go missile for missile. Again, we're going to see the third woe in activation. So now, let me read this again, and then I'm going to get somewhere else with this. So according to Meadows, the vast majority of the world's population must be depopulated so that the survivors can have freedom and a high standard of living. And this is why you have various underground bunkers. And it's just not just amongst Esau or Edomites. Let me just put it that way. It's just not amongst these super rich Edomites. You have even among these other nations too. The nobles of even Moab, they got their underground bunkers. So all of the nobles among the nations, which I'll get into that later on, I just want to read this first. They all have underground bunkers because they believe that everyone's going to die out and they're going to be stored in them bunkers and they're going to survive, which they will survive. And that when they come back out of them bunkers, they can really enjoy the fruits of their labor, of putting in work to forward their agenda of the New World Order. And thing that they want to do is they want to gather all of the resources to themselves. Okay? And that's how they will be ultrally rich. So that's their plan. Anyway, this reads, inside the world's largest bunker, an ultra luxurious shelter for nuclear disasters, known as the Upper Dome or the Upper Dome. The world's largest bunker is a mansion spanning over 30,000 square meters and is located in an old military base near Prague in the Czech Republic. It's where the wealthiest can take refuge in the event of a nuclear disaster. Yes, you read that right. The house has a secret corridor that provides access to the underground complex designed for shelter during wars and disasters. Just this underground part has a pool, spa, wine cellar, a cinema, library, restaurants, bar, gym, saunas, game room, winter gardens with simulated sunlight, and conference rooms, safes, and fully equipped infirmary capable of surgeries, and a command center to communicate with the outside world. So it has all of what they need, the rich. So again, you got to think to yourself, why is it that they have came up with these things, man? Because they know that a time is going to come where they're going to have to run in these bad boys for their dear life, because they're going to cause a lot of deaths, or a great deal of death, which is going to come, and it's going to be put into action by the banks, which has always been the case. These world wars has always been stemmed by the banks. And let's not even give the bankers even all of that credit. It's really going to be the Lord that's going to be bringing in this death, because you have what is called the second death, which is in the coming, which is mentioned in the book of Revelations, the 20th chapter. And I first want to begin by reading 2nd Ezra, 16 and verse 17. As Ezra put it, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, and the beginning of famines and great death, and the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So let's just deal with uh, the beginning of famine and great death, because these two things are coming simultaneously. Like I read an article some time ago, man, and I think it was a Sky News article, and the headline went something to the equivalent of billions could die over the Third World War, because what it was going into, as I can quite remember, is that when there is a war, so food is going to stop going out as usual towards the people that need it, and as well as when you have you know a nuclear war, of course the earth gets affected by that. You know, there's all kind of chemicals and different various poisons that are released from the missiles. So the earth is going to be totally burned and as well as chemicalized. So how you going to be able to take care of yourself? And when the city's in a state of emergency, everything stops. So you getting access to food is going to be put to a standstill. So that's another way how people are going to having to suffer the famines. Okay, but we just know that with a surety, according to the Bible prophecy, as it is written, we have a sure word of prophecy that a great death is coming, and it's going to be by fire, because the Lord, as it was done in the ancient times, in the beginning, I would say, you had a flood, didn't you? Which, yeah. So this is it right here. Fast forward to this precept. This is 2 Peter 3 and verse 6. Whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men, which includes even our people. Our people have become likened unto the ungodly men by transgressing the laws waywardly. So they're going to suffer the same fate as their enemy who they love so dearly. All right. So they're going to be near and dear when it comes to this judgment, which is coming. And this is going to be judgment which will consume the planet Earth. Hence is why it's called the second death, which will come by fire. The first death was by the flood. The second will be by the fire. Revelations 20. And let's begin by reading 13. Revelations 20 and 13. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. The point is in verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, and this is the second death. So what is this talking about? And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, because this society is death and hell in its entirety, especially towards the Israelites. So this society is going to be what? Cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. And this proves that there's no such thing as hellfires under the earth. That you die because you basically was a sinner, you might have killed yourself. So now you're going to go to this area where Hellboy relies, and he has this pitchfork, getting ready to poke you in the chest with it, you know, and toss your soul into the burning flame, so to speak. That's nothing more than a fable. That's all it is. It's nothing more than a myth, which stems all the way back to the three Greek gods, or the gods of Hades, which the term Hades just means hell. All right, that's all it is. It's not a real thing, as some Christians would have you believe, which is something that's bugged out. I mean, we all believed in that one time when we was foolish in the world, but we've come out of that, and we've realized that through information and through reading and doing our research in many ways that we did, we find out that that's nothing more than a myth. It's just a fable. That's all it is. Ain't nobody gonna burn in hellfires. The hellfires that we're dealing with right now is the nuclear destruction, which is gonna bring this system to hell. In other words, down to nothing. Now, the term hell also in the Hebrew is the word shawa'al, which is meaning of that of the grave. So just like when you read about Moses, when he mentioned I think it was Moses when he said, matter of fact, let me go and read it. Yeah, this is it right here. Deuteronomy 32 and verse 22. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountain. So this was nothing more than a statement which expressed on how angry he was. He wasn't literally speaking about a place which is known as the lowest hell. Like, this was just an expressive statement due to his anger. All right. So that's all I have to say right there. I just wanted to bring that out real briefly. So now let's go back to Revelations again and let's read this again. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, and this is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So yeah, that's all we need to go into. So what they really want is a great population reduction, and they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. The Lord is gonna make good of that, because again, that's a part of the Lord's agenda too. All right, because yeah, even the Lord wants to bring a lot of people out from the earth and bring them to the spiritual realm so that the Lord can what? Start fresh again. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get what they want. So these devils, they definitely gonna get what they want. All right, but it's not gonna end in their favor. And we know that for surety. So this reads, however, he insists that a benevolent global dictatorship can accomplish massive population peacefully. During a 27 interview, Meadows claimed that the murder of 86% of the world population is now inevitable. So yeah, and that's why they set up this psyop, which he was under 3 years ago. And that killed a lot of people. And you still got people that are being affected by the VCs to this very moment in time. And they're about to, and the ones that took multiple of those different VCs, they're dropping dead. The ones that probably took two are feeling like they about to drop dead. The ones that took just one of them, they feeling a little bit funny, but their immune system can still, deal with the VCs. All right, so that's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna say the actual work. I don't want to get my channel clipped off, man. Let's even read this as well. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 in verse 5. It says, yea, also because he transgressive by wine, which is the knowledge. He transgressive of the knowledge of God with his false knowledge. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. You have so many different military bases from place to place, especially the American military bases that are all around from country to country, even the British military bases as well. All right, who enlarge of his desire, and just overall NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the members that are in that. So yeah, who large of his desires hell, and is as deaf. This is the point, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and even unto him all people. And that's just the plan. Their plan is, okay, we can get rid of a large population and people. We can start all over again and build up from scratch once again with the very few nations that are around, and we can rule the people in this case. So they don't really care how many people have to die. And as a matter of fact, they believe that the greater the sacrifices, the merrier that their plans can be put into place. And Satan will be helping of that due to their amount of sacrificing of souls, which they care not for the souls of men. They don't really care. They act like they care, but they really don't care at all. Okay? Because if they really cared, they would have made the planet Earth a better place for all of us to live in. All right? So all we are to these elites are nothing more than vessels to sacrifice for a greater plan, which is their new world order. But see, the saints of the Heavenly Father, the elect, are going to be a rightful sacrifice to their power whom they serve. So yeah, let me read this again. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heap unto him all people. And that's the ultimate goal, is for him to rule everybody and to have all of his hands all around the planet Earth. And this devil doesn't care how much death comes. This devil cares not about the planet Earth in general. You know, I mean, you look at the animal life. I mean, the population of the animal life has dropped drastically, including, you know, you got plastic in the water. You got all various poisons in the sky, different metals that we're breathing in from day to day in and day out. And you wonder why you got kids that are born. Let me not use the term kids, but you got babies that are born with deformities and stuff, which that coincide with the prophecy and the Apocrypha, where it mentions that menstruous women shall bring forth monsters, which the term monster just means a child which is maldeformed. Okay, so we're having a lot of those cases on the face of the earth, and it's all to do with this devil ruling the earth. He is a virus of the planet Earth, as it is also written in the book of, what is it, Proverbs 16 and 14, the Lord have created all things, yea, even the wicked, for the day of evil. So this man is bent on being evil. He doesn't know any other way. So now, let me stop talking and let's get back to the precepts. And let's get into Amos 9, verse 1. Beginning there. I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the post may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them. And I will slay the last of them with the sword, and he that fleeth of them, shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Verse 2 elaborates a little bit more. Though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them, and though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. Because they're depending on these various bunkers that they've made to survive it. And they will survive. And that's only because the Lord is going to preserve them to undergo the judgment of having to go serve slavery, because they led us into slavery. The reason why you have these individuals that are sitting high and pretty today, because of our enslavement. So guess what? We made them rich. The Lord is going to take them from off their stead, and we're going to be sitting in them high seats, and we're going to be using them for our labor to enrich us. Okay, and that's the ultimate reason why they're going to escape this nuclear holocaust. Read it again. Though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb into heaven, thence will I bring them down. You have those space bunkers as well that they have in the sky. So they figure, okay, we can set up space bunkers, then we can survive the nuclear holocaust as well, and as well as we can overcome the Lord's return. But this reads in verse 3, though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, you got sea retreats. Thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. So they're going to think that they can survive all of this nuclear destruction, and as well as the Lord's return, which they're going to bring, which really the Lord is going to bring through them. Okay. And they'll overcome all of this stuff. But guess what? We know that evil doesn't overcome. The only can overcome, which is the good. The only that can overcome is the good. Evil can't overcome good. That's not how the algorithm of this life works. All right. It's the good that overcomes the evil. So these devils really think with their evil asses, they'll be able to overcome. They're not going to overcome. They'll overcome as the Lord is going to allow them so that they can be put into slavery. This is where they're going. All right. Let's read, what is it? Luke 23. And this is why we yearn for these devils and these elitists overall. This is why we yearn for them to just make all hell break loose. We want all hell to break loose because we know when they start bringing this hell, they start bringing this Jacob's trouble, we know that sooner or later, Yahweh Shah is going to make a second return and this society is going to be wholly destroyed. This is what we want. So I say, bring it on, Esau. So now, let me see if I can, let me go up a little bit. It's in verse 30, man. Yeah, so this reads, then shall they begin to say, hold on, wait there. Yeah, let's just get to this right here. Luke 23 and verse 30. Then shall they begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills cover us. Yeah, because again, going back to what I was saying, they're gonna seek to survive because of the negative stuff that's gonna really make an impact in their heart that they're gonna see, and it's gonna trigger them. And speaking about the mountains, let the mountains fall upon them, as they're gonna say to themselves. In America, you have what is called, if I'm saying it correctly, the Cheyenne Mountains Complex, and within that you have a bunker within the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, which is also known as a Space Force installation defensive bunker located in an unincorporated El Paso County, Colorado, next to the city of Colorado Springs. So yeah, and they're also specializing in seeing, as they call UFOs or AUPs, as we call it down there in the UK. So they're like, the Air Force space complex. And as well as, of course, they look for, incoming danger, like a military, air jet fighter, whether it's a Russian one or whatever nation that comes in, they're going to look into all of that, but also into space as well. They look into space to see what UFO is traveling within the areas of the country. All right. So they got their eyes open, man. These devils, they're very well aware of what could very well happen in the future to them. And the reason for that, because we're the ones that's basically telling them. They're watching our videos and they're starting to see what we're saying, which they kind of always knew in the back of their mind, but we're making it very sure to them that that is a case where you're going to have angelic powers that they don't know, which will invade planet Earth and destroy the system. But before that, what they're going to do is they're going to bring the chaos they need to bring, under this delusion of setting up this new world order, which the real new world order is going to be the Israelites ruling. So that's all I have to say. So yeah, let's read this again so I can get to some other precepts. So this reads in verse 2 to verse 3. I'm going to read once again. Though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. I tell you what, I'll stop right there. Because why is it that the Lord is going to take them? Once again, because they're going to be preserved so that they can be our slaves. And this is why this reads in the book of Isaiah 24:21. So once we find them, they're going to be gathered together as prisoners gathered into the pits. Might as well just read it, Isaiah 24 and verse 21. And it shall come to pass. Oh, see, this goes into the nuclear destruction right here, man. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, And hold on, wait there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Yeah, see, it's talking about the nuclear missile. So really what I could do is, yeah, let me start with verse 17. Exactly. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitants of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, which is the ozone layer, and the foundations of the earth do shake. What's going to shake the earth? The nuclear missile, which is going to shake the earth aggressively. And that alone is going to be a scary experience to behold. Oh boy, the earth is utterly broken down, and the earth is clean dissolved, and the earth is moved exceedingly, and the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. And the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Just like it reads in the book of 2nd Ezra 15, how the Lord spoke through the prophet Ezra, saying that the Lord will not allow their sinful ways. Matter of fact, let me go and read it because I'm going to butcher it. Right. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, and neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cry unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. So the point is that the time is going to come where the Lord is not going to hold on no more concerning the wickedness that the multitude of the people do, inwardly and as well as outwardly. So when the time of judgment comes, and we all see it's going to be heavy, the destruction is going to be, the judgment is going to be heavy, as well as the transgressions are heavy on the earth, if you know what I'm saying. So let's go up and read this again. And the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall not fall. And it shall fall and not rise again. What is going to fall and not rise again? America was going to fall and not rise again. That's why it also reads in the book of Malachi, the 4th chapter, that when the Lord destroys this devil, he's going to destroy him all the way down to the root, and will not leave him neither branch. I'm roughly paraphrasing that precept. So there's not going to be no more of this revival version of Rome. Never again. Therefore, you're going to have the saints ruling. And this is why this also reads now, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison. And after many days shall they be visited. So when we take them out of their underground bunkers, we're going to know exactly where they are. When we're in those chariots, we're going to know exactly where they are located at. And we're going to gather them out of their luxurious bunkers. And they're going to be relocated towards their pits. And when we find them, we're going to slap chains on them, and we're going to deliver them there to the pits. Okay, that's why this reads in the book of Psalms also, 149 and verse 6. Let's begin here. And let the higher praise of the Most High in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. Oh, let's start with verse 5, shall we? Let the saints be joyful in glory, and let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouths, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and the punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, and to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. Who are the saints? The Israelites. Like High Priest Ariah used to say. So we're going to take joy in punishing the people that have brought us to despair all throughout the ages, and even as of currently. Our modern enemy, our modern oppressor, which are the Edomites. We're going to take joy and put them into captivity and beating their ass the way that we like to see fit. All right? And they're going to enrich us while we kick them in the ass. Just like they did us in slavery. Okay? So that's why they're going to survive. They're not going to survive so that they can come back out of their bunkers and rule again. They come in out of those bunkers to serve slavery. Okay? Let's read on. Lamentations 4. And we will read verse 20. Verse 21. Let's get to the point. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellers in the land of Uz. And the cup also shall pass through unto thee. And what is that cup? The cup is basically the curses. We drunk of that cup. Now our enemy's going to have to drink of that cup. And thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. And the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, and he will no more carry thee away into captivity. As it is also written that, affliction will not arise the second time. And he will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom, and he will discover thy sins. Exactly. So when our sins have been discovered, which we're at the end of, approaching, their sins are going to be discovered, and the Lord is going to deal with them accordingly to as it is written. And a major part of that is them going into slavery. So that's what we, the saints, are patiently waiting for, as it reads in the book of Revelations 13, 9 and 10. For whoso have an ear, let him hear. For whoever has an ear, let him hear. That he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And here is the faith and the patience of the saints. And we are the modern day saints patiently waiting for this to go down. And we know that this is near around the corner. All right. So that's why they're going to survive. And we are going to experience immortality. As I have to say as well, immortality is only but given to the Israelites. In order for one to get immortality, you got to receive it from Yahushua. Who did Yahushua die for, and who did he come for? He came for the Israelites. So that's who is going to receive the idea of having everlasting life and enjoying the fruits of their labor. That is for the righteous, not for the wicked. There's no Bible script on that. So Esau can only but have an idea that they can get this vision, but that's all it's ever going to be. It's just going to be just a vision in their mind, which cannot possibly happen in the reality. You know, as the saying goes, just wishful thinking. Okay? So that's all I have to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakah, HaKwadash. And these devils about to go into slavery. Shalom.